y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Nicole with the Bushel and Designs. Today we are working on a 40-ounce handled tumbler from the Stainless Depot. I sanded it, prepped it, and then I spray painted it with Color Shots Smoke and Mirrors. And this color did not disappoint. It was a beautiful finish. And then I gave it a little bit of a speckle with some black spray paint. And then we're going to be applying this beautiful color shift foil from Artistic Painting Studio. So once all the paint was dry, I'm also taking my favorite foil glue from Artistic Painting Studio and covering the center surface of this tumbler. I did not want to go all the way to the top rim or all the way to the bottom rim, so we're just focusing on the center section. And once I had all of that glue applied, I'm going to heat it with my heat gun to speed up the drying process, and then we are going to apply this foil. I started to get a little worried once I started to apply this foil because this was the only section that I had left from this color, and this tumbler has a lot more surface than a lot of the other tumblers, so I was worried I was going to run out, but I was like, nope, I'm going to make this work. I am determined because I am impatient, and even though I had another sheet of this color coming, I wanted to do this right then and there that day. Sometimes when I have a design idea and I wait too long, I just get so impatient that I need to work on it right then and there, and that's exactly how I felt this day. So I did end up making it work, but I was not going to let it stop me covering this surface area. I absolutely love this foil. This is the very first foil color that I ever ordered from Artistic Painting Studio that just set me on the path to being a foil obsessed creator, I guess you could say. But anyways, I took a little tiny paintbrush, I laid down the foil, and then I took this little tiny paintbrush and just helped work in the foil into all of that glue, and I just went around all the sections. I did the upper section first, and then what I had left on that sheet of foil, I just turned it and moved it into little areas of the lip and the bottom section of that tumbler. After I had very good coverage on all of that foil, I gave it a coat of Rust-Oleum's clear glossy spray paint, and then I gave it a coat of epoxy. I did forget to record, but I just paid extra close attention to the area right around the little nubs for the handles, and I just didn't put any epoxy there. Sometimes I tape it off, sometimes I don't, but this time I didn't. I just was very careful not to put some epoxy there. And then once that coat was dry, I am going to take this lacy, leafy, swirly vinyl from AB Designs Co. It is a clear sheet. It is called Lace 14. So what it is that the black is the only thing that you'll see. So any of the space that you see white right now is actually clear. So I am cutting apart all of the sections that are a full swirl, basically. I don't want any of the half sections for this area. And because it is a tapered, or like the tumbler has that little lip, it would be hard to just do a full wrap. So my suggestion is to just cut apart something like this, and then you have full range of where you want to put all of the individual swirls. For the very first one around the top portion, I did cut like this section because it was just easy to cut all of that out at once and then apply that and then just kind of maneuver all of the other pieces around it. And I have to tell you, having this little swirly rotating tray stand helps so much, especially with these big tumblers. I never know where to put them, and they seem to be a little bit heavier on the side where the little nubs for the handles are, so mine always move. So this stand is amazing. I got it in a cup swap. It's from Nebraska, from Doobie's Treasures. You can find her on Etsy. I will leave a link down in the description box because I think everyone needs one of these. I don't know how I did half the stuff I did before without this thing. So here we are, just trying to finagle it right around that little lip because some of the section did lay over into that, and I'm going to worry about that later. I'm just going to lay all of this down flat first, and then we're going to just trim off a little bit and kind of cut the clear section to help it lay down on that little lip there. Now for applying the rest of these little lacy swirls, it's basically going to be like a game of Tetris and just moving them and making them fit where there's open spaces. I just started with all of the biggest pieces and applied those, and then we will fill in with a few of the little swirls that I cut out and a few of the little individual leaves, just because there was a few spots where I felt like it looked empty. And I'm just going to cover this entire surface with all of these shapes. You can see here I apply them almost basically like the hinge method. I have so many times messed up a clear sheet because I touched it and you could see my fingerprints. So I was trying really hard to make sure that I did not get any fingerprints on the backs. And then what I did for this one, because I really wanted the section to hang over this lip, is I applied it and then I'm just gonna go in and really trim out and cut areas just to help it lay flat. So it's more like individual sections laying down flat instead of one whole piece. I hope that makes sense. But the less surface area that there is to have to lay down as one section, the less likely you are to get bubbles and wrinkles. I have to tell you, what inspired this entire design in my mind was Recently-ish, there was that company that makes these big 40-ounce tumblers that's very popular, and they came out with a black one that had that purpley color shift rim on the top, and their little logo was also in that purple color shift. Well, I love a good color shift, so I thought there's not nearly enough color shift on there, so why don't I just cover one with some beautiful color shift foil? So that is what inspired this entire design, and I covered it all in foil, and then I wasn't really sure what I was going to do next. I felt like it definitely needed something. I was going to just maybe add a decal or something, but then I had the idea to cover it in this beautiful lacy vinyl, and I absolutely love this. It's so impactful. Like, the lace has just really makes its own statement, I guess you could say. I did take this moment to kind of trim up anywhere that it might have overlapped on that rim with each other, or any sections that I felt like could be trimmed off to avoid a bump under epoxy or a wrinkle or anything like that. So I just trimmed off in a lot of places to get as much of it to be laying down completely flat as I could. And then after we are all done applying this lace and I'm happy with it, I did give it another 2 final coats of epoxy, and then I am going to reattach this handle. Most of the time when I've done any of these 40-ouncers, I've never epoxied the tumbler, but I recently did a few where I also epoxied the handle. I meant handle, not tumbler. I epoxied the handle, and I kind of like it. So I don't know. I think it's just going to depend on the design or what I'm in the mood for, I guess. But I applied the handle for this one, and then I think after I took these pictures, I might give it one more final coat of epoxy and epoxy over that handle, just because I'm really liking that way right now. While I was applying these last little lacy sections, I still wasn't sure if I was going to add a decal or anything to this tumbler, but once I was finished with it, I really just loved it the way it was. I have really been surprising myself lately because I always felt like it just needed that final touch of a decal or some vinyl lettering or something, but lately I've just really been enjoying a few tumblers with no words, no decals, just let the design speak for itself. So I am taking this tiny little screwdriver and screwing in the screws to attach that handle. I'm sorry that you cannot see it very well here, but I just tightened both ends and then the handle was attached. And then I applied my sticker, or I had forgotten to apply my sticker to the bottom, so I did apply that, and then that is also another reason why I might give it one more final coat of epoxy. I decided that since this screw was silver and seemed to stand out so bright, I was going to just use my little paint marker and cover it up to make it blend into the handle a little bit more. I couldn't really get it down in there, so I might just take a paintbrush and use a little bit of black paint to cover that up. Not that you can see it when it's standing upright, but I know it's silver, so my mind was telling me I just needed it to blend in more with the handle. You know, we're always harder on ourselves than anybody else. But that was it. This beauty is all done. It will be available over on my website for sale if you want to snag this beauty. I would keep it for myself, but I already have 2 or 3 that I've made, and I'm really just completely running out of room in my cabinets at this point. So I hope that I have inspired you in some way or another, and I would love if you create something that I've inspired you with to give me a tag. I would love to see what you create. And as usual, I will leave all of the information where to find me and the products that I use down in the description box. And if you are interested in joining my mentorship group, there's also going to be a link down in the description box. We're a small group, we're growing, but we have a lot of fun over there. We do challenges and giveaways every month. So I would love to have you over there, and I will be back again next week, and I'll see y'all then. Bye, y'all.